first, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello everyone, welcome to Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. I wanted to pull up that shot right away because that is live from Ski Bowl right now. I mean, I gotta say it's probably a pretty good sign to be seeing all that snow coming down here. We're almost in May. And to have that happen, there's been years where I've seen that and it's completely dry. So that is a good sign, I think, for all of us. And it's a good sign that you're here with us. So we live stream here every weekday. Starting at 1 p.m., we cover a broad range of topics on this show. As I mentioned, I'm Greg Nibbler. We're live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, our website, and our app. So lots of places to find the show. And of course, watch it afterwards. I always like to remind everybody of that. But right now, we're talking about the Portland Winterhawks. And as you know, they're in the Western Conference Finals. Big win yesterday against Prince George as they're marching slowly toward getting those four wins to move on to the next round. And we're going to talk all about the playoffs right now because we've got head coach Mike Johnston joining us. And Coach, thank you very much for having some time to talk to us during this epic run that you have going on right now. So I appreciate that. I think, first thing I got to ask, how you feeling about yesterday?
Well, we've had 3 games in the last 4 days. So we were up in Prince George last week. We lost the first game of the series against Prince George. The second game we won up there on Saturday night. Both teams traveled down after the game to Portland. It's a little bit of a drive between Prince George and Portland. And I was really happy to see our response last night. I thought we had a great start to the game. There's good energy in the building. It's a tight series. Both teams are really close. A lot of talent on both sides of the ice. But I thought we played a good game overall. Getting off to a good start was important in the game.
Yeah, I mean, you really did, and especially bouncing back, from that first game, having that sometimes, I would imagine that could take it out of a team being on the road like that. And as you mentioned it, it's a bit of a drive to Prince George. So that's to be able to come back like that and to have that, the ability to do that, I would imagine takes a lot of mental toughness in addition to the physical toughness.
Yeah, and then you look ahead as we're going to talk about, we play tomorrow night and we play Thursday night here. If the series did go 7 games, it'll go to Monday, Tuesday up in Prince George. So there's a lot of games in a very short period of time. So you're right. It's not only the physical play that you worry about as a coach, but it's all the mental side. We have young players, 16 to 20, and I've been really pleased with how they've handled things during the season. They've done a great job. From game to game, their consistency has been really good. And whenever we've had a little bit of adversity, we've been able to rebound from it.
And, mentioning that, 16 to 20 years old, that's probably, I can tell you for myself, not being a professional athlete, 16 to 20, I could get easily distracted. So how do you help these guys keep that focus and keep their mind on the game and the task at hand?
I think a lot of it comes inside the room. We have a great leadership group. Not only our captains, but we have an older group of core players that have been with us for a while. And as a coach, you impart certain things on your team, but it's what happens in the room. And when you leave the room as a coach, how do the players take over? What is said? How do they control things on the bench, in the dressing room, and then as they leave the rink? And I really like our group. Our 3 20-year-olds are all guys that have been here since they were 16. So they've come up through our culture, our program. They know what's important, and they're a very driven group.
And in talking about that, the leadership of the team, could you address, just some of the pretty amazing play that you've had here over the last, the whole season really, but over these last couple of games with the hat trick, you've got a whole lot of assists going on with Danielson there. So, what's it like seeing that come out and seeing them flourish there on the rink?
Well, the first game of the series, we lost 5-0, and it was unusual for us to get shut out. We're usually a up-tempo, pace team. We can score. So we've started to score in the second game and the third game. Usually that's the way we play. That's been our style, been our template. Prince George is a little bit different style of play. They're more a little bit of a trapping team. They're more transition attack. But our group of forwards, defense, and our goaltender, Jan Spooner, I just think we have depth at every position, and they've done a good job, right through the lineup of all our guys. And certainly you rely on your top guys, like our captains, Clausen, Stefan, O'Brien, Chizowski. You rely on those guys. But even some of the young guys at this time of the year with injuries and other things that happen, they've got to be ready to chip in.
And it certainly seems like, it's working out so far. You're up 2-1 now with Prince George. What are you expecting from them tomorrow night, from Prince George?
Well, they're a really good team, and they've had a great season. They finished a point ahead of us for the Western Conference title during the regular season. So, good teams are going to rebound. They're going to adjust as the series goes along. And I really think playoffs are a lot about that. They're about teams adjusting and adapting to what the other team is doing, but still sticking to your template of who you are as a team.
Looking at it, from the Portland standpoint, I mean, you're traveling to all of these cities. There's a lot of teams in WHL, and just that you're traveling around, you're going to these places, as you mentioned, a long drive to Prince George. When you come back to Portland, what is it? Is there anything about the city of Portland and the home arena there that really gives you an advantage, maybe over the other team?
Well, it definitely does. Up in Prince George, there were sold out both games. We come back here, and our fans have been phenomenal this season. They've really rallied around the team. We have a lot of new fans coming to games. We're pushing 6,000 most nights in the building. And Memorial Coliseum, when you get 5,500 to 6,000 in the building, the atmosphere is incredible. It's a really noisy atmosphere, and especially if you score early like we did last night and get the crowd engaged. It was an intense atmosphere. And I've been in NHL buildings at this time of the year, and I would say it rivals a lot of the National Hockey League buildings, the atmosphere and the energy in Memorial Coliseum.
I love that. Yeah, the Coliseum is a fun place to watch anything, and especially get something like this playoff Winterhawks hockey going on. I mean, it's a special place. For you, looking forward here through the playoffs, do you start as a coach? Do you start looking ahead? Should this go out play out how you want it to, and moving on to the next round, or you just focus on what's at hand?
Yeah, we're just focused on the Prince George series and focused on Wednesday night right now. We don't want to look too far ahead at any time. We played 2 series, started with Victoria, then we played Everett, and now we're into Prince George. And to win the league, you have to go 4 rounds, and then you go to the Memorial Cup. So there's a long road. If you get too far ahead of yourself, I think in the playoff time, you'll be in trouble.
Well, with all of your experience, you mentioned being in NHL stadiums for all of that, and everything that you've done here with your career, what's maybe one of the biggest things that you relay to these guys from all the things that you've seen to help them prepare for something like this?
I think at this time of the year, when the games happen so quick and there's a lot of emotion in the games, is to try and get rid of the game as soon as it's over. Whether you've won or lost, you need to focus on the next game. So you need to focus on your rest, your nutrition, your hydration, and getting your body ready for what is a very demanding schedule at this time of the year. But you can't get too hung up on if, as a team, we haven't had a very good game, or as an individual, you weren't happy with your performance. You've got to get rid of that, because you mentioned earlier, the mental side of the game is so critical at this time. You want to be mentally fresh. When our players arrive tomorrow morning, we want them to be fresh physically, but we want them to be fresh mentally as well.
Right. If there's a mistake made, get over it, move on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Get back to it. Well, you mentioned the players getting rest and having them mentally fresh. I got to ask you, do you do anything to give yourself a break or a rest during a playoff run like this?
Just normal routines. I think as a coaching staff that we meet in the morning, try and get a workout in during the day. But all your focus is on the playoffs, because again, everything happens so quickly that you want to make sure you're dialed in for the next game. But you do need to take breaks. And I try and do that a couple hours every day, but it's challenging at this time of the year.
I bet. Yeah, I would imagine you have a tough time taking a break and relaxing and resting during that. Well, Coach, anything else that you would want to say to maybe somebody out there who, some of the fans that come down to the Memorial Coliseum to watch the Winterhawks play? They're there supporting and rooting, maybe throughout the season, maybe they're just here during the playoffs, whatever it may be. What would you say to those people that are coming down to root you on?
Well, I think at this time of the year, on both sides, Prince George and ourselves, you're going to watch some very talented players. You're going to watch some future NHL players. So it's exciting to see these kids when they're at a young age. And then in the future, you're going to look at them playing in the National Hockey League playoffs when you watch TV at night, former Winterhawks. And so it's youth, when they're this young, there's mistakes made on the ice. As I said, there's lots of energy, lots of emotion. It's an exciting brand of hockey. And if you're a sports fan and you haven't watched a lot of hockey, I think you'll be highly entertained by the games.
That did bring up one other question just for you, since you mentioned, some of these players are their future NHL players. You're going to see them in the NHL. So do you talk to them about that while you're coaching them? Do you talk to them about their future, or do you, or again, do you just focus on the season and the task at hand?
Well, we have 6 drafted players on our team. We have a 7th player that's now signed. And so these players, when they're 20, will try and make the step into the American League or the National Hockey League. So that's a good core of our team, and a couple of the younger players should be drafted this year. There's always focus on it because there's focus on, much like football and basketball, there's focus on where are they ranked, where will they be drafted, are they going to, if they're drafted already, are they going to sign and play in the NHL? There's a lot of scrutiny on these young kids, so I give them quite a bit of credit for how they handle it, how they keep their focus on the game, while also they're going to school here in Portland at the same time. So they're taking college courses or high school courses, and they're focused on their future career. So we do talk about it, but we don't focus on it too much. We try and make it about the team.
That's a lot to balance right there that they're doing, but
It is.
But you know what, doing a great job. So congratulations on the success so far. Definitely looking forward to seeing another win against Prince George. And Coach, thank you very much for joining us here on Fox 12 Now.
I appreciate the time. There should be great games Wednesday, Thursday.
Absolutely, yes, it will be. Well, thank you so much.
All right.
And for everybody watching, again, this is Fox 12 Now, so I thank you for joining us. Really appreciate Coach Johnston being able to join us there to talk about the Winterhawks and what is coming up, as he mentioned, tomorrow, Thursday. So more games coming up for them as they go through the Western Conference Finals. And we've got more coming up for Fox 12 Now at 1:30 p.m. We're going to switch gears, talking about a book called American Fly Girl. It's a book documenting a really amazing woman who was a pilot here in the 30s and 40s from Portland, went through a lot of adversity, Chinese American. She flew over in Asia. She flew a test pilot for U.S. jets. She's one of the first Asian American pilots. I mean, just really amazing for the Air Force. So a lot of really great stuff to talk about with that. That's coming up at 1:30 p.m. So come right back on whatever platform you're watching on.